Come on in. Come on in out of the weather. It's pouring outside. It started raining at 4 o'clock this morning. And when I'm talking rain, I'm talking beyond buckets. I literally thought there was a tidal wave hitting the top of my house. That's how hard the rain was coming down. Right now, we're into a drizzle, but I'm very glad it rained. And something that I did yesterday afternoon I did just in time. So you'll have to wait to see when we talk about what's been going on just around the corner. But if you're new here, come on in. You've entered Connie's little corner. Yep, I'm Connie, and that's Mr. Levi sitting back there on his bed with his Chewy, kind of behaving. I've got my morning coffee. I have a medium-sized order and items from Temu. These are things that I ordered before the you know what hit the fan a couple days ago. And I still do have about 8, 9 things coming. Majority of the things that I do have coming are from local warehouse. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about everything that's been going on with Temu, what you can and can't do, what still works, what still doesn't work. I'm going to cover all that in this video. All right. So make sure you stick through to the end so that you can catch up on all the information I have to give you. You get a better understanding of how Temu is functioning now and what kind of options we have, what we can and can't do. We're going to go through all that. But let's get into an order. I have 2 little bags. I'm just going to reach in and start grabbing some stuff. Hold on. I need some coffee. And no, I'm not adulting today. It's going to rain all day long. I may not even get dressed. That's nice luxury, right? Okay. This was $11.99. This came from local warehouse, but I did get something else from the vendor, so I didn't have to pay any shipping on it. This is, well, let me show you a big picture of it. This is a weed remover, a stand up, don't have to bend over weed remover. Some of you told me about this, and I said, you know what? I'm going to get one. I'm going to try it. So that's what this is. This one is all metal. It has 3 extension posts, and then it has the very top post. Let's see if I can get it out. It's got a whole bunch of extra extension pieces for your connectors. And on the very top one that gets connected, it has a little chain for hanging. Those connector pieces are plastic. Everything else is metal. It's got one little tap screw here that kind of secures the top rail together. But this is the part I want you to look at. This is what I call the foot. This is all metal. This entire piece is all metal. So when you put this down into the ground, it's going to be open like that. When you put it down into the ground, it's going to push this up. You push on this, lean back, and apparently when you lean back on it on the ground, it grabs the root and pulls everything out. Now, I'll put a picture up here of what it's supposed to do, but the thing I like is that it's all metal. It's got a little bit of traction honeycomb pattern on here, and it's got grippies. I don't know if you can see them. On the inside, it's kind of waffled so that it can grip. We'll see how it works. I don't know. You're supposed to push it in the ground. I don't know. I'm desperate because yesterday when I was out, I spent the past 2 days working out in the yard. And the weed population out there is crazy because this property was not taken care of, unfortunately, by the former residents that were in this location. And since all the rain came in the spring and whatnot, where the weeds are is coming up like crazy. So I have a lot of weeding to do, and my back is telling me I ain't going to do it bent over. So we'll see how this works. That's kind of what it's supposed to look like when it pulls it out of the ground and you step on it. It's supposed to grab the entire weed and pull that up. We'll find out. Let me know if any of you guys have had one of these, if you've ever tried one. I'm going to take the stuff out of this bag and put it in front of me so I don't have to keep. Oh, forgot about that. Yeah. I have so much to tell you, not just about what's been going on around the corner, but I have a massive list of things that we're going to cover about Temu. So that's where my head is going right now. So I apologize if I don't seem as organized and together as usual. And I just threw the price away on this. Shame on me. Okay. $4.33. I had to get these. What they're going to go with hasn't arrived yet. But I also wanted to tell you guys about these and forewarn you. These are the cutest little hot stands. And I'll show you what they are. They're just this cute little dog. And it's a resin type material. That's the back. There's the front. It's just a little floppy eared dog, so it could be pretty much almost any breed. It comes in a set of 3. They're so tiny. It comes in a set of 3. But if you look on the back, it's got this little flat lip. What this is meant to do, I'll grab one of my little calendar dice here. These are meant to hold the little flower pot. Not a big pot, obviously not heavy because there's not a lot of room in the back, but there's 3 of them to go in a triangle shape and you put a pot on top of them. These are very deceptive in the picture. They look like they would hold a massive flower pot. So I want you to be forewarned just how tiny they are. They're only about 1.5 inches tall. They're not going to hold a pot that's really, really big, but they will hold a pot up enough so that it has a little bit drainage underneath it. So if you have a tiny pot, and I would say probably a pot that isn't much more than 4 inches or so, these are going to be perfect for that. So I ordered a little pot, actually a couple little pots, to go on my little shelves out on my front porch. And these are going to hold up one of those pots. I'm not sure which one I'll use it on, but that's what they're for. They're going to hold up my pots. Everybody needs a pot holder, right? Well, it's a different kind of pot holder, not a cooking pot holder. All right, $7.99 for this. Yes, I've started getting clothes. The things I'm showing you here, I did spend some time yesterday in checking. You can still get these through local warehouse if you want to pay the $2.99 shipping, but I also found them elsewhere. The majority of things that I'm going to show you today, I found on either Amazon, AliExpress, Walmart's, or Target's. So these items can still be gotten someplace else. This is just a cute little sundress. Basic black, very heavy, seriously feels like a cotton material. Fake buttons, wood buttons in the front, fake buttons in the front. Doesn't really have a waistline, but it does come in a little bit. And it's about 36 inches long. Nice hemming on it. Actually, beautiful stitching work on the bottom of this. So I'm very happy with this. It does run true to size. I find in the summer, I am much more comfortable wearing these with a pair of like gym shorts, spandex shorts, even capris or Bermuda length spandex, the longer spandex ones. These are just so much more comfortable than being wrapped up in jeans and separate tops and bottoms and all these extra. No. Put one of these puppies on. If it's too short on you, like most of them are on me, because my torso is long from the waist down, throw a pair of shorts underneath it. Absolutely amazing. Love that. Okay, let's look at some more. $5.85, and this is another little sundressy thingy. That one was very cottony feel, that black one. This one is, it doesn't feel plasticky, but it is a little on the silky side. However, it does have that softer, non-silky feeling cotton white interior that we talked about. This is, they call this blue, but guys, I know it looks blue. In person, this is purple. This is a odd shades of purple, and it has pockets. It's a pocket dress. I love pocket dresses, but it's a nice tank sundress. And for a couple of bucks, it's very well made, nicely hemmed. And again, I found this exact same dress on AliExpress for the same price, actually a little bit lower, but AliExpress had shipping, so it all worked out to be the same price as this. I also found this at Walmart. So these things that I'm showing you are not exclusive to Temu. That's why I bought these. All the stuff you're going to see, I bought because you can find someplace else. Keep it affordable, right? All right, $8.92 for this one. And this is another cute little sundress. And wow, when I used this picture to search the internet for it, it came up all over the place. Dozens and dozens of places for it. This one too feels very silky, but it does have the white cottony feel lining on the inside. And this is another colorful sundress, but it has a little bit different bodice. As you can see, it has what I call the spider web bodice on the front. Plenty of room, nice and loose. It's still very well made, even though on the outside it's that silky, on the inside it doesn't feel quite that way. Again, nicely stitched, beautiful hem work on here. That's what we all look for in these clothes to make sure they're not icky, right? So this is going to be wonderful. And I love the colors. You know me in color, right? I can put pretty much any pair of leggings or shorts, whatever, underneath this, and it'll match. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's got wrinkles. That nasty plasticky polyester stuff does not wrinkle. So if you get any clothes from Temu and they have wrinkles in them, or if you see them on the site and they have wrinkles, that's the one you want to gravitate towards. Now, I know a lot of you are saying you're not going to shop Temu anymore. We'll talk about that. All right. I will never try to convince you where to shop, ever. That's completely on you. Where you want to shop, how much you want to spend, how you want to do it. All I'm going to do for you is I'm just going to lay out the options so that you can make an informed decision. I wish somebody would have done that to me a long time ago. All right, $13.59. I saw this exact same thing at about 8 other places, but believe it or not, this came from a local warehouse along with the picker. And they both came from the same vendor, so I didn't have there was something else, but it's behind me. So I didn't have to pay shipping. And I didn't have to pay those import taxes, which was a good thing. Oh, look, see? My earrings that I showed you in the last video when I did the live. I love them. They're perfect. Okay, anyway, so I found this. A couple other vendors had it. I had fortunately got it from the vendor that had the lowest cost on it, but I saw this all over the internet pretty much for the same price. So very, very competitive. And this is Levi's keepsake chest. You all know how when Sadie was passing, I had gotten her a treasure chest and I had it personalized. I ordered a little personalized plaque and it held like her leash, her collars, her sweater, her footprint, whatever. This is, I know it's sad, but you know what? I'm a realist. You guys know that, right? I base everything in reality. This is Levi's keepsake chest, and I thought this was a very manly treasure chest. It's a little bit on the burgundy, the red tones, the brownish red tones. It's got the little handles on the side of it. This strapping on the top, this is faux leather, the strapping that goes all the way around the top. The only thing feminine about this is the butterfly latch, but most people don't really notice it. Very, very nicely made, kind of masculine. It is wood, balsa wood. The inside is not lined, but it's nice and deep, and it'll give me plenty of space to put his things. And then it comes with this little fake looking lock. It looks like it's got a little dial lock, but on the side it's got this little button, so when you push it, it just pops up. There's nothing for it to lock into. If you can see, it's just a little dummy hole there, but it still gives the impression of it being a lock. And these little things do turn, like you're setting a dial. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I like that. I'm happy with that. All right, we'll put that back in there, keep that in there, so I can set the lock on the front. But there's Levi's keepsake chest, and yes, I will personalize it. I will get a little antique brass plate to put right here with his name, like I did with Sadie, and 2012 to whatever. But I'm going to obviously hold off on that, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. I know you're all curious about what's going on with Mr. Levi, right? And Mama. Mama's fine. Mama's doing good. I haven't talked to her since Wednesday morning, but I will be having hopefully a video call with her tomorrow. Hopefully. I just love seeing her face because the minute I see her face, when Robert hands her that camera and boom, Mama's right there, it just lights me up. I can't help it. And it does the same to her. She she told me on Wednesday that she likes our Sunday calls, but she has one problem with it. And I'm like, what's the problem, Mom? I was worried. She says, I smile so much, my face hurts. I'll take that as a compliment. That if that's the kind of problem that we're going to have, is our cheeks are going to hurt from smiling so much, so be it. All right, this was the last thing that I got. This came from local warehouse. This is a set. Let me see if I can remember how many's in here. Is it labeled? There's not a single label on this box. Is that not weird? I believe it's a set of 12. Let me count the posts. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. How many? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 posts. That's an odd amount. Oh, no, it's a set of 12. Okay. These, oh, there's the other post. I found it. Solar lamps. Not real big ones. They're probably, well, hold on a minute. I got my measuring tape. They are about 4 inches high at the highest point and 3.5 inches wide at the widest point. Cutest little thing. You twist the top off, you turn the button to on, put the top back on. These are not pre-charged. I just turned it on and it's not lighting. So this is not pre-charged, but you have your posts that go into them and then your ground stakes that go into the bottom of them. So they're good from the ground up. They are approximately 11 inches from this point to the top. So almost foot in height. These are small enough, and there's a dozen of them. Can't believe the deal I got on these too. These are small enough that they are going to go in between my garden plantings. In other words, when you walk down the side of my house, there'll be some of these there. There'll be some of them out in the backyard. So these are going to be like pathway lights. These are your typical plastic. But as you know, with these kind of lights, you don't really need to have metal. And the ground here being mostly sand, it's very easy to get anything into the ground here. It's not like in Arizona where I had to actually pre-drill to get these in. So this is a good size set. Comes with instructions, front and back, how to put it together, how to choose a location. They don't cast an enormous amount of light because they're very tiny, but they're perfect for a footpath. If you need to light your way, and I don't, oh, these are going to fall all over the place. Let me put it back here. Um, I don't need a big amount of light where I want to put these. This is just for ambiance. So I'm not sure. I have all my ground lights now. I have this set, and then I have 6 of the round globe ones. The rounded globe ones, more than likely, I'm going to put where my garden is at the front of the house and where my garden is at the back of the house. So that's the order. Not an awful lot of stuff. But we're going to go over what's been going on just around the corner. I'm going to start with Mr. Levi. Um, to reiterate, for those of you that didn't watch last Wednesday's live and haven't followed me on Facebook, the vet that was taking care of Mr. Levi and treating him passed away suddenly. So we lost a very vital community member. He had been a long time vet, family owned veterinary clinic, veterinary hospital, master surgeon. He was just an amazing individual, and Levi was very well taken care of by him. And Levi liked him. Most animals, especially when they're going to a new vet for the first time, they have a little trepidation. But Levi was never like that. Levi, right off the bat, was very friendly to him and very loving. And so it was very sad when he passed, even to find out about his passing, but he was only 63. So his office referred us to one of their affiliates that this is a vet that would fill in at that veterinary hospital. So the other vet is just as close. They're not that far apart. So was it yesterday? No, excuse me. It was Thursday. Thursday, they took over Levi's care, and he was due for another scan. He was due for more blood work. So they ran his blood work. And instead of doing a scan on him or an x-ray, they did an ultrasound. The vet wanted to get a better idea of what was where and what he could see, things that wouldn't show up on an x-ray. So they did the ultrasound. They drew the blood work. The ultrasound showed that his spleen is infiltrated with ascites, which is basically fluid. It's full of fluid like a balloon. And the way the fluid had amassed, it looked like a growth. It's not actually a growth, but it is fluid that his body is basically fighting something, and what it's fighting, it's affecting the spleen. So the spleen is enlarged. We did discuss whether or not Levi's spleen could rupture, and the vet felt confident that it would not, as long as it did not take any blunt trauma. In other words, as long as we don't pick him up under the belly, or he doesn't get kicked in the stomach or fall down the stairs and whatever. As long as there's no trauma, the spleen, he said, is very flexible, just like a balloon. It can only stretch just so far because of the other organs in Levi's body. So he doesn't feel that there's a risk of implosion or explosion from the spleen. So that's a good thing. Then the blood work showed absolutely zero change from 6 weeks ago. So all his blood levels were the same. His anemia wasn't any worse. None of the white cell counts or red cell counts, nothing had gotten worse. Everything was pretty much spot on to where it was 6 months, so 6 weeks ago. So basically no change, which is a good thing. But the ultrasound showed that his liver is quite enlarged. He does have liver disease, and it showed scarring and some markings on the outside of the liver that are indicative of a cancer. The vet, and there's 2 vets in this office, so I got 2 opinions in one location. Both of the vets feel that the cancer is actually in his liver, and it's just kind of like impacting the spleen, which is why the spleen is acting the way it is. So his liver enzymes were not in a danger zone. They were not in a severe zone. They were midline towards the better side. So the plan right now is Levi is going on liver support supplements. He's going on a low protein diet because you do not want to add a lot of proteins when you have a liver issue. The liver does tend to help. It can regenerate itself. It can heal itself to a point, but because of the evidence of cancer, obviously it's not going to recover very well. So the plan is to maintain. So Levi is getting, there's my boy. He's getting carrots and broccoli, things that, milk thistle, things that help support his body holding on to the iron that we're putting into it, for his body to actually absorb the iron so that it can help his liver recover. So our goal, as I started to say, is to maintain Levi where he's at or improve him as much as we possibly can. He'll never be 100%. Part of the issue is because he is a 12-and-a-half-year-old dog, and liver issues are very common in any breed of older dogs. So his date of departure has not been set. We're going to do more blood work in 3, maybe 4 weeks, now that he's been started liver supplements yesterday, and we will see if those are having any positive impact on him, if his change in diet is having any impact on him. But the vet was impressed as to how strong he is, how vital he is, how alive he looks, basically just he's all there. He's not acting like he's sick. He's not in any kind of pain. His movements are not restricted or limited. So that was a good news checkup. And I want to tell you something that happened while we were there. I don't know how many of you are spiritual like I am, or believe in other planes of life and not just this one in our corporal bodies. But from the moment we stepped into the exam room, within seconds, a bird came to the window, and it was a cardinal. It was a beautiful, bright red cardinal. And it looked right at me, and then it looked at Levi, and it stayed there for the entire hour. It didn't move. Until Levi and I were done with our appointment, we got up to leave. I looked at the window. It literally looked right at us and then flew away. Cardinals are a good luck omen. And cardinals are also a symbol from those that have passed that have come to give support. So if you see cardinals in your yard, if you're going through something and all of a sudden a cardinal appears out of the blue, right? That's a sign. And it's not a coincidence. When it happens often, and it happens on a regular basis, when anytime I've been highly stressed or anytime I've been worried or scared about something in an area where you wouldn't typically see a cardinal, all of a sudden there's a cardinal. You all have different signs. I have other signs. I have little white butterflies. That's my brother Mark, that he comes to visit me. There's certain smells and things that you pick up on that that relates you to a family member or someone like that. So everything, yes, on Thursday with Levi was in the positive mode. So I will keep you posted on how he's doing, but right now we're hopeful that he has more than 6 months. If we can see 90 days of no change and solid maintenance, then we're looking good for adding some longevity to my boy. Okay? All right. Let's see what I did around the corner other than taking care of Mr. Levi. And I will put pictures up here so you guys can see everything is normal. Yesterday, before it started raining, my rain barrel that I had ordered from local warehouse got delivered. So it was not hard to put together. It came with 6 rods that slide up into the barrel. This is a PVC type barrel, so it's flexible, but it's not rigid, which is great because it gives you a little bit more flexibility as to where you can locate it. It has nice, what they call flower base or lotus base feet that spread out, so you get a little bit better balance. It came with the spigots attached to it. So you have the spigot to turn on, then you have the outlet to hook your hose to, and then you have the overflow valve at the top. So it never fills to the point that it's flooding out. It'll just come out the overflow valve. And with the overflow valve, you can hook a hose onto it, you can put a bucket underneath it, or you can just leave it be. I got it set up in a matter of maybe 10 minutes, got it outside. I had pre-leveled the spot where I was going to put it. It's tucked in the corner right out by the back stairs, as you can see in the picture. And I did put probably about 15 gallons worth of water in it. Now it holds 53 gallons. It's approximately 2 feet across and about 2.5, almost 3 feet tall. And it's round. It has a zipper top, and in the top of the lid, it has a screen section where the water goes in, but none of the junk goes in. And the way it's set is that it has a little bit of a bowl effect on the top so that the water will puddle and go down into there. When I went out this morning and checked on it, the rain barrel was half full. We got that much rain last night that it filled it up about another 4 inches or so. So I was very happy I got it up in time. That rain barrel is not for potable water. I'm not going to use it for in the house. That I am using exclusively to water the grass, because I'll be putting grass seed out there in the next couple of days. It's going to be used to water the grass, water the gardens, wash the car, so that I don't have to run up my water bill in the house. Why not use Mother Nature? Why not collect what she's giving us, right? Okay, so I started doing a front flower section right off the front of the porch. And the first thing I did is I put down the weed blocker. I had gotten that from Temu, I think last year. And I rolled out the weed blocker and I put it down with the stakes, the typical U-shaped garden stakes that go in to hold that down. And then I put smaller stones along the back of the house. And I carried those stones all the way around 3 sides of the house, not the very back, but around both sides and on the front. I got all those little stones put in. So I had ordered giant hostas, and I can't even think of the name of them. It starts with an M, and I'm thinking something like Mustaphilia or Mustafana, something like that. These are the world's largest hostas on the planet. All right, absolutely anywhere. These grow 10 to 11 feet tall. These are not your standard giant canna that might grow, 4 feet, 3 or 4 feet. These will go 10 feet on average, and they'll reach that in just their first year once they start growing. So because of the peak in the front of the house, because that alone is 11 feet, and then I'm 3 feet off the ground, these cannas, I placed 5 of them. I separated them by about 2 feet apart each way, 3 in the back and then 2 in the front, make a little triangle out of it. Those, as they grow, excuse me, will come up tall right in the front, in the middle of the porch. And the blooms on top are like an orangish red. But these plants are not primarily for their bloom. They're for their gorgeous tropical looking leaves. And you'll see, look in the pictures that I'm putting up. Absolutely beautiful. And I got these from local warehouse. I got these from a local box store. And the price was amazing for I think the 5 of them was maybe $10 or $12, and they were delivered to my door. Great shape, but look at the tiny little buds coming up already. Every single one of them has a little bud coming up. So I am excited to see those giant cannas start really growing. And with Mother Nature watering everything for me today, there you go. I just have to watch the forecast. These plants love water, but you have to be careful not to sog them down, and because they'll get root rot. But if you water them lightly every day or every couple of days, depending on the weather, Let Mother Nature do it, right? Okay. I also, from the same place, got two azalea bushes. And as you can see, they're not really big, but they're very cute at this size. I've grown a lot of azalea when I was back in New York, and the climate here is just as favorable. But the difference is here, those azaleas will not die back in the winter because it doesn't get cold enough. It doesn't get below freezing here, typically does not get below freezing. So they won't die back. They'll stay green. And azaleas grow pretty quickly for a bush. These will probably double in size within the first year. So I set them one each to the side. And these are the dark, like raspberry red color, that fuchsia. But I absolutely love that color. But the plants were in great shape, very healthy. So I got those planted. And then you all saw my lamppost with the pot where I put the hosta seeds. In about a week, I have the first two little hosta shoots coming up. Look how tiny they are, but they're growing. So I'm not too worried if the rest of them don't come up. And remember, I put 15 seeds in, 3 per hole, and I had pre-soaked the seeds overnight. If the other ones don't come up, I'm not worried. I have 100 seeds. I'll soak more, I'll plant more. Eventually that pot will be filled with the Christmas hostas, with the red and white hostas, and we'll see how they go. The trumpet vine seeds, I'm not seeing any sign of them coming up yet, but they typically take 10 to 14 days before you start to see a sprout. If they don't sprout, it's not going to break my heart, if you know what I mean. I have plenty trumpet vine seeds that I can add. So that's starting to come up good. Now, the back of my house, I've talked about how there was a big drop coming off the back of the house. All day Thursday, one of the staff members from here in the community where I live, brought about 10 bucket loads of soil and graded the entire back of the house. So he would bring the soil in, shake it out and dump it, pull it back, compact it a little bit, and then I would go out there with the heavy metal rake and I would fill in the gaps or fill in the dips or smooth things out and do the final grading on it, so that when he came back with the next load, he could go back over that again and get that all tamped down. So the two of us spent from about 8:30 Thursday morning until I had to leave with Levi, so till about 1:30 or so, out there working. And let me tell you, my back is feeling it, but it's feeling it in a good way. It's not incapacitating me. It's just letting me know that I had a really good workout, but it's coming out beautiful, and now it's ready for seeding. Yay! So I have the seed, and I got the Sunshade Mix Rapid Grow, Scott's Rapid Grow seed, and it's a mist of like fescue and ryegrass and bluegrass. It's a very hearty seed mix. I used it a lot in New York because, of course, as you know, the New York climate can be brutal, especially in the winter, but you want the seed, the grass and the roots to be strong so that they come back up in the spring, and you want a nice thick carpet. So that's what I got. I'm going to do it in sections. I'm going to start with the section behind the shed and get that seeded. I have the straw, the seeding straw that'll go on the top of it, and that kind of that straw creates a warmth, and it holds the moisture so that you go out and you water a little bit every day, and it only takes about 2 weeks and you start to see everything turning green. You wait about 3 to 4 weeks until it really comes up, and then you gently rake away the straw. That straw can be used on another part. So that's what's getting on. All that soil grading was great. And then yesterday on the side of the house, which I didn't take a picture of it, but off to the side of the back door, when you walk out and go down my back steps, on the street side, because remember, I'm on a corner, on the street side, there was gravel put there for like an extra parking spot. I spent hours out there. First, I used the shovel and I shoveled up the superficial gravel and made a big pile. Then I went back with a heavy rake and I raked it down till I got to the soil. So I have a massive pile of gravel out there. Well, not really gravel, stones. And I started putting the stones out and around. So I put some stones out around the bottom of the post flower pot. I put some stones out around where I'm going to be planting my tomato plants in the backyard. So I got some stones to keep the grass from kind of coming in on that area, kind of making it so you have a distance, a border. But I've got that set up a little bit different. So I'll eventually show that to you. I do plan on getting the tomato plants in the ground probably within the next week. They got delivered again to me from a local greenhouse. They're beautiful. They're about this big, probably about 6, 7 inches big. Nice, healthy plants. But because they were packaged, they were in the dark. I have to let them sit out so that they get the sunlight. They perk back up again. Mother Nature, of course, has just watered them for me. So I'm just waiting for my trellis. The trellis I showed you in the live video was missing 8 rods. So the whole thing was only about 3 feet tall. It had all the curved connectors and everything else, but it was missing 8 rods to give it the height. The second package was missing. So obviously they weren't going to do a reship because it didn't come from local warehouse. It was one of those things that said out of stock, no longer available. So I got a full refund, and then I went to local warehouse and I reordered it. And even with the shipping, I ended up being ahead of the game by like $2, $3 left over in credits. So because I knew I had to reorder it, I did get that in credits, and then I reordered from local. I do have credits left, and we're going to talk about what all of us can do with our credits. But let me finish this up first. I have an order coming from Amazon because I wanted to see. Now, I don't have Prime, so I have to do an order of like $35 to get free shipping. So I picked out, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 items that I needed and that I wanted. And it's a little mixture. It's household stuff, it's some food stuff. I picked out a mixture to see how comparable Amazon is, and if their prices are changing from when I had bought these items from Amazon before. And the prices are only pennies higher than when I bought them even a couple years ago. So I was very happy with that. So we'll get a little in from Amazon. Amazon does have the option for you to search by price. You can do a search that says, dollar deals or items under $1 or items under $2 or items under $3, and it'll give you everything from their site that falls underneath that. Or you can specify food products, under $3, cleaning products under $3, jewelry under $3. So I'm amazed at how much stuff I found when I changed how I was searching. I'm also I have a local Dollar Tree here, and I do want to tell you the good news is that Dollar Tree has cleared everything off their shelves, all right, that came from China. And they are restocking their shelves with made in the USA products. And let me tell you, I can't wait for you to see the haul that I get because I browsed through the store and I was shocked at the quality of things was better. The product selection was better. And it was still mostly $1.25 for everything. Some things were $1.50, but then they have a specialty section where things will be maybe up to $5. It's a variety, but I gotta tell you, it's incredible. And I'm just like, Dollar Tree is going to be my go-to for a lot of those things that I don't want to spend a fortune for. I also have one order coming from AliExpress, and I shopped specifically what's called dollar deals. Now, it doesn't mean they're for $1, but it does mean that the majority of things you're looking at are like under $5. It's kind of like shopping clearance. But with the dollar deals at AliExpress, if you buy 3 of any item, not 3 of the same item, like I bought 2 different lights and something else. So 3 completely unrelated items. If you purchase 3 things, you get free shipping. Even though these items are like next to nothing in cost, you have free shipping. And I did not have any import taxes on this particular order. So I was impressed. The order was, my taxes were normal. I have, I think, 11 things coming. And the whole order was maybe $35. So I was very, very happy to find that option at AliExpress. For those of us in the United States, AliExpress also does have where you can shop USA products. So you can limit your searches if you're in the United States and you're worried about the import, because trust me, if you don't narrow it down to US products, you might order 35 bucks and stuff, but your bill might be $100 because of the import taxes and shipping. So search the USA products. Everybody else everywhere can search any way that you would like, but AliExpress does have those dollar deals and a huge clearance section with a whole bunch of choices. I'm impressed with how they've kind of like stepped up to the bar, so to speak. All right. Are you ready for a little Temu talk? Hold on. I need a drink for this. I should have put something stronger than coffee in this cup. Okay. Let's talk about local first. And then, because that's a big deal. And then we will get into credits, refunds, returns, games, all that variety of stuff. All right. So, on the local, when you find an item that you like in its local warehouse, go into that item. And on the left-hand side, it'll give you the name of the vendor or that particular warehouse. But you want to shop by vendor to see if you can avoid that $2.99 shipping. Now, when I bought wherever it is, oh, it's behind me, that and the other things that came, how I found them from the same vendor is I simply clicked on the vendor name, which took me to that vendor's store, so to speak. And I scrolled down through all the different items they had. I was actually impressed that this particular vendor had multiple things available that, like, they weren't all the same thing. They weren't all outside garden stuff, or they weren't all house stuff, or they weren't all tools. They had a variety. And that's why I was able to pick out that weeder thingy, Levi's chest, and the lights. That's a variety to me, and not have to pay the shipping, no import fees. So, and a reasonable product price. The prices, as far as I'm concerned, I did not think they were high at all on these items. I thought they were very reasonable because I had compared these items where I found them elsewhere, and elsewhere the price was a little higher, right? And of course, you had to pay shipping for them. So if you browse through the vendor items, and every time you find an item, all right, or you're searching for an item as something comes up, choose the vendor with the low that has it for the lowest price. You all know how to do that. But then go in, click on the name of the vendor, and look at the store. What other items do they offer? And is there something else in there that you want or that you'd like to have, that you're willing to purchase, that might get you over that $30 mark for the free shipping? So keep in mind, the shipping from the local warehouses is $2.99 per item, not per vendor, right? So if I would have only bought 2 items from that one vendor and not found Levi's chest way down at the bottom of the products, if I would have only got the weeder and the lights, I would have paid $2.99 for the lights and $2.99, because when I went to checkout and looked at my subtotal, I had $5.98 in shipping, $2.99 per item, right? by adding that third item, which I wanted in the first place, when I saw it, I immediately fell in love with that chest for him. I eliminated that shipping. So keep an eye on that. And remember, it's not per vendor, it's per item, unless you hit that $30 mark. All right. Let's talk about, some of you have asked me since the live video, well, if Temu is providing the stuff to local warehouse, why aren't there big import taxes on what's going into the local warehouse? I'll tell you why. Local is based on consignment. All right. Have you ever used a consignment shop locally, right, to your neighborhood? You go into the store. I put my goods in the consignment store, and I basically hire them. Say, hey, okay, you're going to be the middleman. I'm going to place my items with you. You're going to earn money off of it, and I'm going to get paid off of it. We agree on the selling price, and then I leave it in your hands to sell it. That's basically consignment. All right. And that's what Temu does with the local warehouse. They partner with wholesales who will ship directly to their warehouses. And they use international companies, some like Winit, W-I-N-I-T, Winit, and Easy Export, because that way Temu can select items from around the world and not just from China. So from around the world, and have them shipped into their warehouses in the United States. Companies like Winit and Easy Export have trade agreements with the United States. They already have things established that are not being affected by these import fees, these import taxes. So Temu can still get their products to the local warehouses. When you use global companies like these two that I mentioned, and there's more, but these are just the two main ones. When you use global companies like this, and you already have these agreements in place, you have that relationship already established, then that's how Temu was able to stock their local warehouses and restock their local warehouses, or add items to their local warehouses, because of this consignment, this affiliation type deal that they have going on. Also, Temu already had a massive inventory established in the United States. They have 3 main warehouses. They have one in California, one in Texas, and one in New Jersey. Temu headquarters, believe it or not, is in Boston. It's in Boston. They use offshore operators and whatnot to do your chats with you or your phone calls. But they're based in Boston. That's where it is. Now, they do have about 10 other smaller warehouses, but they're not local warehouses. They're distribution centers. So when all this stuff comes into the United States, it goes to the distribution centers. It gets sorted out based on these preset agreements, and then it goes out to the local warehouses. So that's how Temu can get items into the USA where we are not impacted by import taxes. Does that make sense? I'm hoping it does. Consignment, I gotta say, the powers that be behind Temu are very smart. Shine did not do this. So Shine is really having issues right now. But Temu is, they were pretty smart about how they did this. And their local warehouses are carrying such a variety of products that it makes it easier for us to find the things that we want and still find them at a reasonable price. So if you find something like a blouse, or a shirt or shorts or whatever, a piece of clothing that you like, odds are that same vendor is going to be carrying a bit of other clothing. So again, search it out. If you're comfortable still shopping at Temu and using local warehouses, which I am, that's just me, okay? I'm comfortable using local warehouse because I understand how they're getting their things, how it works. I understand the pricing of it, and the prices in local warehouse have not gone up like a lot of the other prices have. They've gone up a little bit. I noticed on a couple of items, something that I wanted to repurchase, because you know me, when I love something, I'll do a quick repurchase. But I noticed when I went to do the repurchase through the local warehouse, The one item was about $1 more than when I had paid for it. So instead of being like 3 something, it was 4 something. Okay, that was maybe a 25 or 30% increase. I'm not seeing anything really egregious. I'm not seeing anything major. But again, that's how I search in the items I'm looking for. You might have seen something different, right? So keep an eye on your local warehouse, search it out, just explore. Whatever refunds or credits that I get, I did cash out, and we're going to talk about how to do that. Um, I did cash out a good majority of them, probably about $20 worth of them. And then, of course, when you do returns, you end up getting more unless you send it back. So here's the thing. Let's talk about cashing out. If you've decided that Temu is not for you and you have all your orders are done, you have nothing outstanding, you know you don't have any returns left to do or refund requests to do, all right, and you have credits left on file, you can contact customer service. You just go to the main page of Temu. Up in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see that little headset or smiley face. It's a little different. You hover on that or click on that, you'll get the drop on. It'll say chat with customer service. That's all you got to do. When you get the bot, all you have to say is cash out credits. That's all you have to say, cash out credits. The bot for me didn't even question it, didn't give me a hard time like most time the bots do. And it just said yes. And then it gave me the options. It's going to go back to my original payment source, or I can't remember what the second option was. Or I could leave my credits, um, and they would give me, I don't know, I think it was like a $5 inconvenience credit or whatever the case may be. And I said, no, just cash it out back to my original payment source. And for me, it happened instantaneous. They did everything. They sent me back however much it was, except for 13 cents. And I can't figure out why the 13 cents, but then it dawned on me. I had been purchasing using credit on credit on credit on credit on credit on credit on credit, so that 13 cents was not from, technically, not earned within the past 90 days. That was credit that had been just kind of like rolling over. So I said, all right, I'm not going to worry about 13 cents, right? So I got an immediate refund. Within a matter of seconds, PayPal said, you have a refund from Temu. The very next afternoon, I got notification from my bank that PayPal had deposited back to my bank account. I'm like, wow, that was no issues. So if you don't want to shop local, if you don't want to leave your credits on account to use for local, then cash them out. If they don't give you enough back, I had one of you make a comment that you had under $20 worth of credits, but they only gave you like a fourth of that back. That's when you need to escalate it. And you said, look, credit is credit. They, for whatever reason, you need to go back to customer service and you need to argue with them. You need to say, look, you only gave me partial. These are my credits. I don't care how long they've been sitting there or not sitting there or not being used. If they still refuse, you can't do anything about it. All right. Unfortunately, they don't make their policies and procedures available to us in a way that makes any kind of sense, or sometimes even at all. So if you have credits left to use, my suggestion is go to local, find something you like, take that price, figure out what your tax would be on it, $2.99 per item, do all the math, make sure you include it, and use up your credits. When I had to do the reorder on the tower, that 13 cents got applied towards the reorder. So I didn't lose anything on credits, and I got my replacement still cheaper than my original cost. All right. So don't make yourself crazy. So you can save the credits for local, or you can cash them out. All right. Refunds and returns. These are being handled the same way as before. So far. That may change within minutes from me putting this video out. All right. So don't say, well, you said this on May 3rd and this is now, well, you know what? As of today, May 3rd, what's happening is when you do a refund request or you have to do a return, nothing has changed about that procedure. But I have noticed, right, that they're much quicker to offer you a refund without return than they ever were before because they can't restock what's broken, right? Because for the US, for people in the USA, when I did, I'll give you an example. I had two items. One was missing from a package and the other had missing parts. So, and they were both out of the same order. It was an order with 4 items in it, and 2 of them were bogus, right? So I went I went into the order. I checked the items and I marked the reason for each item, missing or missing and broken parts, item not received. On the item that was missing, I took a picture of the package and the envelope and showed that there were only 3 out of 4 items that were in the bag. And then on the one that was broken or missing parts, I took a picture of that showing the missing parts. So when I went on to the next step, it didn't even question, it immediately said, do you want money back? We're going to give you a one-time refund without return for both these items. So, okay, I took the credits because I knew one of them was the trellis. I knew I was going to go to the credits. It was no questions asked. The other refund request that I did was they completely sent me the wrong item. It wasn't even anything like what I ordered. I don't even know how I got it. I looked at the label in the package thinking I had gotten somebody else's order, but no, it was addressed to me. But it might have been someone else's order, but somehow my label got on the package. But what I had ordered was missing, and what I got was not what I ordered. So, of course, I did a refund request on that and told them, I had to go through customer service. Like, look, I didn't order this item. Nowhere in my orders was this item listed. I got something that does not belong to me. I need to send this back. What do I do with this? They said, oh, no, you don't have to send it back. USA regulations, if you ever receive something in the mail that you did not order, it is yours to keep. Well, you know what? That's true. I learned that many, many years ago, that if you ever get an item that you did not order, and obviously in a case like with Temu, I can prove I didn't order it because it was nowhere in my order history, you're allowed to keep it for free. You don't have to return it. But what Temu did was they gave me $5 credit for the inconvenience, and they refunded the item to me. And I said, honey, I didn't pay for this item. You shouldn't be refunding me. You should be refunding whoever ordered this. And she says, we have no idea of who ordered. We have no way of tracking because they have obviously tens of thousands of people that order things. But it was considered the wrong item. The reason they refunded me was because it wasn't what I ordered. My item was missing. But this rep, I finally convinced her that she needed to refund me for the cost of my item and not the cost of this item. So she did. She got it, right? She refunded me. I didn't have to return it, so I donated it. I took the item up to the local Goodwill and I donated it. It was a baby item. 69 years old with no kids. I don't need baby items. So refunds and returns are being handled the same way. If they do want you to return something, you still go through the same steps. You go into the order. They'll give you the options. What label do you want for which courier, however you're going to send it back. You download the label to your phone. If you have a printer, great. You print it out, you slap it on the package, and you put the package out to be picked up. If you don't have a label, a printer, then you can either take your phone with the package to that courier location, they'll print a label and put it on, or you can call that courier. So when you pick the courier to do a return, make sure there's one in your area. Don't pick DHL if you don't have a DHL, or don't pick UPS if you don't have a UPS in your area. Make sure when they give you the selections, they're always going to give you the selection of how you got the package. So that's number one. And then they give you an alternate. So make sure you choose the right courier to do the return. Once the courier, what they are doing now, and I find most people have told me that this is true for them, once the courier has your package in hand, Temu immediately refunds you. They don't wait until this package has gotten back to local warehouse. And for those of you that didn't know, that's where your returns go. When you physically return an item based on your location, it'll either go to California, Texas, or New Jersey, right? So California covers everything north, south, and east over to almost the Mississippi River. Texas is covering everything in that southeast corner all the way to Florida, halfway up the country, and then New Jersey is handling everything that's in that upper. So they've got the country like divided into three. So that's where your returns go. They're not going back to China. They go back to the local warehouse. If they're resellable, they go back in stock. If they're not resellable, they go to a particular office, one of those little extra hubs near Boston, and they get written off, so to speak. So they take the loss. Temu now, for the people in the US, cannot do reships. If you purchased an item and it was direct shipped from Temu, they cannot reship your item. They're automatically just going to refund you, which is what they did on the trellis for me. I asked for a reship and it was not an option anymore because obviously with the import taxes and whatnot, they couldn't send it to me from China. So you get a full refund because you cannot do a reship. You cannot even do a reorder, as I said, if you want to try to buy something again that you bought before and it was coming from China. If you're in the United States, you can't do that anymore. Every other country, you may still be seeing everything that ships from China. I don't know if my friends in Australia and Canada and United Kingdom, I don't know if you guys still get the opportunity to shop direct from China. If you do, that's great. So not much is going to change for you as far as that goes. All right. I'm sorry, I have to laugh. I just heard jingle bells. I have a load of laundry going and it's done. And my machine plays jingle bells when it's done. It's just the weirdest thing. All right, games. Let's talk about the games. For me, the games have totally disappeared because the items that I selected were direct ship from Temu. And obviously they can't direct ship. I don't know if they're going to bring the games back for those of us in the United States and just have us pick things at a local warehouse instead. But the items that I had selected were not available via local warehouse and the games are gone. There's no farmland left. There's no fish land left for me. I've heard from others of you that your games are gone and maybe you were really close, like a penny or 2 pennies away from winning at farmland, or maybe a penny or so from winning at fishland, and all of a sudden it's gone and they're saying it expired. Well, the games do have expirations, but I know for mine, because I was looking at it, my farmland game didn't expire for like 179 days. And that expiration date is right up on top where you see your little prizes listed in the box. In teeny tiny writing right above that, it'll say when your game expires. So keep an eye on that. If you aren't a big shopper and you don't get a lot of credits to use, your game could expire on you, and that might be why it's gone. But you'll have to talk to customer service to find out. You're not spending anything to play the games. You get food, water, whatever for the games, even without placing an order. You just don't make a lot of progress unless you're ordering, because obviously the orders give you more food or water for what you need to play. So for some people, the games are still intact. For others, they are not. Now, if your game is still there, and if you're in the United States, and if it has items that are not local warehouse available, when you win, it's going to either give you the option of selecting, it'll say not available, it'll actually say sold out. We know they're not sold out, right? So it'll say sold out. You will get the option of taking credits or picking a replacement. The replacements are items that are coming from local warehouse. They don't give you a lot of choices, and sometimes if you're going to, you have to decide. If you know that you're going to continue to shop and maybe you want to shop, you're willing to shop local warehouse, then take the credits so that you can use them at local warehouse. At the very least, it'll help pay for the shipping, right? So that you get free shipping. You have to make that decision. But the games may or may not be available anymore to everyone. So if your game disappears, if they tell you something is sold out after you win your game, know that those are items that were direct shipped from Temu, that they can't fulfill those items anymore. You can't argue with customer service, guys. It's not going to do any good. If you're in the United States, Temu shipping from China no longer exists for any reason. Not Temu Circle, not the games, not for shopping. That's it. USA is restricted only to local warehouse. All right. I think I've covered everything. If I missed something, if you have more questions, try not to overthink this. I know all of us that are avid Temu or were avid Temu shoppers, we're all going through Temu withdrawal. We got spoiled. All right. Temu came in like a flash and it's going out with a bang. Temu is going to be hurting. They're going to lose a lot of business because the United States was one of their primary consumer sources. And not everybody is willing to use local or has the funds to use local or can navigate, it's a whole new shopping experience on how to do local. But there are a lot of other places out there. As I said, I'm going to be shopping different stores, finding bargains. I've got Amazon coming in. I've got AliExpress coming in. I have a Walmart order coming in. Oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you guys about that. I have a Walmart order coming in which I kind of thought the prices would be higher, but here's the thing. I have a Walmart membership because I get my groceries delivered. And typically, if you get groceries delivered or anything delivered from Walmart, it's usually like a $9 and change, something like that, delivery charge. Well, I joined the Walmart member club. I pay, I think it's $12 a month for unlimited deliveries as opposed to $9. So I get weekly grocery orders, or some things I have on like a subscribe, like milk, bread, things for Levi. So I get weekly orders. So instead of spending $40 or $50 a month in delivery charges, it's only $12 a month with the membership. But that doesn't just apply to groceries. That applies to anything you get delivered from Walmart. So if you order something from Walmart, you have a local Walmart or a supercenter, which almost everybody does, your delivery fees you're not hit with them. You pay once a year, $120, $140, whatever it is for a year. I got a $50 discount because I paid for the whole year up in advance. So for less than $100, I get unlimited deliveries. That's cheaper than Amazon for unlimited deliveries. And Walmart has almost every single thing that Amazon has. And Walmart puts things on Amazon for sale. So why go to Amazon if you can get it directly from Walmart, right? So your delivery fee is included. If you need something that gets shipped, Walmart has very reasonable shipping fees. because everything is in the United States. All their warehouses, everything they have, again, no matter where the products come from, it's all in that consignment style, like a local warehouse. So do some searches at Walmart's. If you're looking for clothes or electronics or toys or whatever it is, go to online, and you don't have to choose your store. If you want shipping, it doesn't matter, but I always choose my store so that I get the best deals. But when you shop online at Walmart, you get thousands of things that you will not find walking into the store. Their online store is massive. All right, absolutely massive. So check that out as a shopping alternative. If you haven't gone to Etsy or Wish, check that out. Wish does have import taxes. So you have to be very, very careful. When you're shopping at Wish, find out where the item is coming from. There's a lot of USA vendors at Wish, and you can search by USA products. So because these import taxes apply to every single company outside the United States, no matter where they are, it's not just China. All right. Anywhere in the world outside the United States, they're going to be impacted by these import taxes. Check carefully, look at your order. Don't be afraid to say, I'm not doing that. I'm not shopping there. Online shopping is going to change. That's obvious. That's obvious. And I hate to say it, but Temu is one of the bigger factors that caused this de minimis loophole to be closed because of the enormous amount of items that were being shipped into this country from China, and not part of the regular trade, route and whatnot. Just simply because the enormity of it all, they're like, well, all this stuff is getting into the country. There's not paying any taxes on this stuff, even though we were paying our taxes based on our state. Well, the government decided they wanted their cut, but they're dumb and they didn't realize their cut's coming out of our pockets, right? So be careful where you shop, no matter where in the world you choose. If you found a place, I'm not even going near Shine, because Shine, I have yet to find a way to get around those import taxes at Shine, or Shein. Some of you call it different, but it's pronounced Shine. I'm not even going near them. If you're not in the USA, go for it. All right, but not here. And I have to shop based on where I'm located. So, oh, I forgot to tell you. I just looked down. I was about to sign off, and then I looked at these. Can you see all these? These are little vegetable stick in the ground. These are vinyl plastic little planter labels. These came with the rain barrel that I put outside. There's 5 of each, and there's 5 colors, so there's 25 of these, which is a bonus because I will definitely use these for marking my plantings. See, I knew I was going to forget something. No, it's not old age. It's just having too much to try to tell you guys. All right. Enough Temu talk, right? We're good. Levi's good. I'm good. Mom's good. The house is coming along very nicely. I got a lot more backbreaking stuff to do. There's going to be changes coming down the road all the time. I do have several more Temu things to show you. A lot of them came from local warehouse, so you will get to see some of the items that you can get at local warehouse, very reasonably priced. I have 3 massive boxes sitting out on my front porch right now. All came from Temu. What I'm doing is I'm going to wait for a couple of days. I'll probably come in on Wednesday and do another video with whatever I have and keep you updated. But in the meantime, guys, thanks for hanging with me. I appreciate you sticking this out, and hopefully I've given you enough information so that you know what's going on, not just around the corner, but with Temu as well. Stay hydrated. Above all else, please stay sweet. And I will be right here in my little corner the next time you see me. Bye.